Wailau is a series of themed storytelling events that build connections between members of our campus and wider community that goes deeper than the roles we hold in honor to our complex, fragile, fascinating, and brave selves. Each event will explore a different theme, and we seek to showcase 5 storytellers.
And what is the meaning behind Wailau? Well, it literally means the gathering of many waters, a place where water from diverse sources comes together to commingle and become a more powerful, unified whole. Today's theme is dreams. So that could be like a sleep time adventure that you just can't let go of,
or a cherished hope or goal.
So let's makavalu and look through the perspectives of many different minds.
But first, let's hear from our first topic expert.
Mana Barkarsi earned his MA in Hawaiian Language and Literature from Hilo and holds a Master Mariner's credential. He works in the Aina Poahi group at Kamehameha Schools. There, his focus is to improve the capability and well-being of Kanaka Hawaiʻi through a healthy community ecosystem with a focus on Aina, education, and culture. He is the Vice Chair of the Hawaii State Board of Education and a DJ/producer at the Hawaiian Language Radio Program, Alana Ikai Hikina, on KWXX-FM, currently celebrating over 25 years of broadcast. He is a deep-sea voyager, a captain, and an educator who has instructed from preschool through university in disciplines ranging from voyaging and navigation to ethnozoology, indigenous media, and beyond. He previously served as the Director of Exploration Sciences and Voyaging Division of the Ahapunana Leo, which utilized the Va'akauluva voyaging canoes as a platform to strengthen the Hawaiian language skills and cultural traditions of its participants, and continues to educate through his roles as a board member of the Ohana Va'a, a board member of Na Kalaiwa Mokuʻu Hawaii, on the leadership team of Honua Kai, and as a member of the Polynesian Voyaging Society. Kaimana also serves as a board chair for the Cultural Survival, an non-governmental organization, president of the Hawaii Council of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, board member of the Indigenous Education Institute, and on the advisory council of the Cultural Conservancy. So, take it away.
Ulu vehi Hawaii aina li, he aina ulu, he aina ike, he aina momona, he aina ola I te wailani o kulani hakui e. O mato na taua o nei aina, e ola ka aina, e ola kato nei lai. Aloha, aloha nui mai kako. Mahalo nui for having me here today. On this topic of dreams. Really, it all started off about maybe 20 years ago when our director, Stina, and I connected through a mutual friend and talking about dreams. That conversation never really happened due to many other circumstances. So we get to that point today. I've been really blessed and privileged for the last couple of decades to work in the area of international indigenous rights advocacy. And in working with indigenous peoples from around the world, what I noticed is that oftentimes when we are outside of the meeting rooms, outside of the council of circles, when we're sitting in the garage talking story, when we're sitting on the lawn having lunch, a lot of times the topic of dreams comes up. The topic of dreams and the perspectives that these natives have from around the world. And a lot of times it's very, very similar. Dreams, a way to connect you to the past, a way to connect you to the future, a way to reclaim things that have been lost. There's been many times where they've shared that they're searching for something, whether it's a connection to the genealogy, whether it's how do you finish this la'au lapa'au, whether you finish this, this medicine, what is that missing ingredient? Oftentimes that connection comes through dreams, into that realm that's blurred. Oftentimes, Ikekuro ke ao moe, as we say here in Hawaii, in that late night, early morning time, when our minds are restful, and when the veil between us and our ancestors has closed up, or opened up, I guess you could say, but the connection has become a lot closer. Here in Hawaii, we have a lot of different types of dreams, and dreams are super important to us. In general, we call dreams moi uhane, or sometimes moi moia. But then there's those dreams, the ha'ili moe, the dreams that reflect that it's kind of like a fond remembrance. You sit there, you have a quick memory of a great time gone past. But then, at night, it comes to you in a more vivid of dreams. There's also that hihio dream. So, any kumu in the audience, sometimes daydreaming is literally just that. Getting carried off and your mind makes that connection. So it's not a bad thing. So next time your students are daydreaming, give them a little bit of slack. Maybe even a little bit of encouragement. Now, for my family, one of the things that dreams are super important for is something we call inoa po. Inoa meaning names and po meaning of the night. From a very, very young age, when I was in elementary school, I started having a dream. And this dream was reoccurring for many, many years. It was an older Hawaiian man pointing to two patterns on a tattoo and sharing two names. Now, I grew up, of course, speaking English like most do, and I didn't really start learning until later in life. I was really a kolohe kid, a really mischievous kid, so oftentimes I got scolded in Hawaiian, so I could understand a little bit, but I really didn't start learning it till later in life. And it was once I could learn the language that I started understanding what that dream was telling me, and then it was gone. I haven't had that dream since. Now in our family, inoa po is a kuleana that passes down in each generation. My uncle, who was a kumuhula, that was his kuleana. For our generation, it kind of fell to me. But it happens in a slightly different way. There's times where the full name is present in a dream. But for us, we dream of a theme. There's a reoccurrence in your dreams. And then, when it happens, it solidifies. Two examples, two of my favorite nieces. I have a lot, so don't tell any of them that these are my favorites. With the first one, her name is Ka'ualema'o. That name, the idea of a misty rain, which is the o, was really prevalent in many dreams. Then one morning, I woke up and I saw Mauna Kea. Mauna Kea had a lei of clouds right on its shoulders. Like it was adorned with a really beautiful white ginger lei. Shortly after that, I got the call that my sister had given birth to her first daughter. Ka'ualema'o, the misty rains that adorned the mountain like a lei. And it was that same lei that we saw at Kuka'emoku, which is the iau nido in Maui, when she got engaged to her husband. So these things happen, these things are connected. Then my other niece, Kiala Kupawa and Kavelo, the smell that permeates your senses and brings back thoughts of those that gone past. That scent, that fragrance was that resounding theme that was coming in the dreams. So one morning I go to my parents' house and I see them sitting there with a goofy grin on their faces, sitting on the couch, no TV, nothing on, they're just sitting there with the window open. I'm like, oh, what's up with you guys? What's going on today? And they're like, well, we're just sitting here because Grandma and Grandpa, who had passed many years before, came to visit them. I said, oh, how did they visit you? And he said, well, the pua male, the stephanosis flower, there's a strong scent of that in the air. Nobody in our neighborhood has that flower. So it really came strong. And he told my mom, my dad told my mom, and they sat there. And then a scent reminiscent of my grandfather came, a scent reminiscent of my grandfather came. Now sometimes, we think, oh, it has to be something traditional. This was pomade. For most of you that are young here, you don't know what that is. For those that are older, you see that grin on your faces. Pomade is kind of like a gel, a got-to-be glued, a hair cream that a lot of kupuna would use, and nobody in our family had used that in years. So they came, and as we're sitting there, the phone rang, letting us know of the birth of my sister's second child, Keala Kupawi Kavelo. That scent, that strong scent that reminds you of times gone past. So it's a connection to the past, but can also be a connection to the future. If we look at a certain story that a lot of you have probably heard that started on this island, it's the story of Pele and Lohi'au, where Pele left her body in a dream state, traveled all the way over to Kauai and fell in love with Lohio. Then when she came home, she awoke and she sent her little sister, Iaki Kapoleo on that epic journey to fetch her lover. So that dreams, it blurs the lines, but it's also helps us to understand ourselves. We have that, that moimoya, that unuhina, that translations, being able to understand those dreams, what they mean, and also know that it's not something set in stone. A lot of times, dreams will evolve. Dreams will set you in the right direction. They'll kick you in the butt sometimes to remind you if you're off of where you should be. But trust in your dreams. Realize that as a lot of these indigenous peoples that I've heard from, they are connected to their traditions. So they're connected to those dreams. But a lot of us still have that deep within us. It may not be as apparent because we've grown up in a more modern time and modern life. But if we just listen, if we just keep ourselves still, those dreams will speak to us and they'll tell us some amazing stories. Mahalo.
Thank you to our topic expert. Now, our first story is called Following My Naʻau.
Meshell Ashley Mazzetti is a dynamic professional who strives to make an impact in the world of film and television here on Hawaii Island. With a passion for nature, education, and the creative arts, she has worked diligently to bring all three of those aspects together into her professional and personal life. Meshell's journey began with a strong foundation from the University of Hawaii at Hilo, earning her bachelor's degree in geology. Her commitment to the study of earth science has led her to found the Robert S. Grace Scholarship Endowment Fund at Santa Barbara City College, as well as initiating the Geology General Fund here at Hilo, for which she is currently fundraising. Her insatiable curiosity has brought her to the forefront of some of the most impactful lava flows in recent years, the most significant of which was contributing to the efforts of Drone Team 1 through Hilo's Spatial Data Analysis and Visualization Lab and their work for civil defense during the 2018 Leilani States eruption. Originally studying under two wonderful mentors, Dr. Ken Hong and Dr. Cheryl Kinseki, Meshell brings this unique experience and understanding of Hawaii Island to every project she works on. Beyond her professional achievements, Meshell is an advocate of preserving and promoting the diverse Paniolo history of Hawaii. As one of the founders and current manager of Waikiki Polo Club, she works to give opportunities to children and teens of all backgrounds to get outside and experience the wonders of horsemanship. In her spare time, she enjoys teaching, tending to her organic vegetable garden, caring for her 14 pets, doing photography, and coaching AYSO soccer. So let's hear her story.
Aloha kako. I'm so pleased to be here this afternoon to address you all on the wonderful topic of dreams. To me, dreams seem to be both tangible and intangible and represent the part of us that has aspirations and imagination, but I also believe that it's firmly rooted deep within our gut, within our Naʻau. Our Naʻau, our imagination, and our entire body is aligned and intersects within our heart, and I believe that if we're able to learn to follow our heart, that it will lead us to places that exceed our wildest dreams. For me, one of my greatest dreams was to attend Hilo, and I'm so proud that I was able to graduate here as a geology major. However, when I first departed high school, I didn't necessarily end up here right away. Finding myself in Southern California, I was studying film production there, and I found myself disconnected from nature. For a period of 2 years, I continued to have a reoccurring dream of Mauna Kea. In this dream, I found myself circumnavigating the mountain every night, making one full rotation. And although each night I had the same dream, each night it was very different, and it was never the same. Some nights when I went to sleep, I would dream of sunshine and rainbows, and then other nights it would be wind and rain. At times, the ocean would find itself washing across the roadway as I drove. And another time, the lava would trickle down from the mountain, coming so close to the road that I would find myself driving past the lava, smelling the scent of the sulfur and feeling the heat upon my face. This was at a time in my life where I had actually never been at an active lava flow. So for me, It was very memorable, these sensations I was having in my dreams. Fast forward to 2 years later when I was actually able to attend Hilo and become a geology major. Pursuing a degree in earth science was very stimulating for me, and I was so grateful to have Dr. Ken Han and Dr. Cheryl Kinseki as two of my mentors. Being able to go in the field with them, with their production company, Volcano Video Productions, shaped my life drastically because I was able to learn how to navigate an active lava flow with them and build on my creative experience as well as my scientific experience. Since then, I have continued to pursue every opportunity available to me to not only further my scientific background, but also to develop my creative background. One of the most important experiences of my life was in 2018, finding myself at the feet of Pele, dancing her hula in Leilani Estates as it shook the ground and her fire fountain against the sky. Last year, all of these experiences came together in an exceptional way. For me, I had never imagined that I'd find myself on a set from Apple TV that was a $500,000 a day film set. Originally, they had approached me to be a geologist and to consult for them for their film. And originally, I thought this was just going to be a couple reports that I was going to be able to put together for them, and I was so proud to have this opportunity. And I really poured my heart into those reports. For me, the day when they called me to ask me to be an on-set consultant for their film was something that shocked me. Yet, and I was so thrilled. The excitement the night before was so palpable that I just laid in bed and stared at the ceiling and thought, why can't I go to sleep? I just felt this nervousness, but also something deep within my Naʻau was stirring. I checked my phone and I had noticed that there had been an earthquake. And although this was a period of heightened activity for the Mauna Loa mountain, that this was an exceptional earthquake because it was almost double what we normally were seeing in this time period. When I looked at the USGS website, I noticed that at about 26 kilometers underneath the summit of, directly under the summit of Mauna Loa, there was a 4.0 earthquake. And I thought that was strange because the rest of the earthquakes had been in the range of the magnitude about 2 to 2.5. So this definitely set it apart. I refreshed the page, and not only 5 minutes later, there had been another earthquake, 4.0, this time at about 15 kilometers under the mountain summit. For me, this is when alarm bells started going off. There was definitely a pattern. I refreshed once again, and at that point, it was 5 kilometers underneath the summit of Mauna Loa. I really just got excited, and then finally, I refreshed once more, and it was at half a kilometer under the summit, and I thought, did I just witness the onset of the first eruption of Mauna Loa for the first time in 40 years? You know, I was excited, but I was also nervous because the next day we were set to begin filming, and I had just assured all of the executives that it was not very likely that eruption was going to occur that week. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be fired, but it ended up to be quite the opposite. When I arrived on set the next day, they had paused filming and they had a meeting convening of all the executives and department heads. Everybody, including Jason Momoa, was crowding around me, asking me questions, and I spent the day on conference calls and discussing with the crew, you know, the aspects of this eruption. And I explained to them that although there was an active eruption on the island happening, that canceling the $500,000 a day film shoot and jeopardizing all those jobs was not worth it because it was a different mountain and it would have to flow over a 4,000-foot mountain, Kilauea, to get to where we were. And I said, if you don't believe me, Dr. Ken Han can assure you. And I texted him, he said, okay, it's great. So at that point, Jason Momoa jumped about 6 feet in the air and the film was on. And I was just so proud to be a part of it because this is a film that he has really poured his heart into, and it's going to debut next year regarding the Hawaiian chieftain lineage, and they have put so much effort into it that I really just feel like my position there that day was just to ensure that this story was to be told. And I was so grateful for all of my experiences in my life that culminated in the moment that led me there. So at the end of the day, if you're able to follow your heart, you're going to be able to synergize between your dreams, your aspirations, and your Naʻau, and it will lead you to places that you'll never imagine yourself being. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next story will be connecting to the ancient values of Makuʻu.
Richard Ha is a retired farmer and small business owner on Hawaiʻi Island. A 1973 graduate of UH Manoa, he started as a banana farmer, founding Ha Bros Incorporated and Koa'e Bananas, before moving to Kea'au Banana Plantation. When diseases threatened harvests in the 1990s, he started Hamakua Springs Country Farms in Pepeha, expanding into hydroponic vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, and lettuce, and exploring produce to almost every major supermarket across the state. When rising operational costs led to the closing of the farm in 2016, Richard shifted his focus to a different kind of crop, medical cannabis. As CEO of Big Island Grown, Richard and his team received one of only 2 licenses allocated for Hawaiʻi County to start operations for a medical marijuana dispensary. Throughout his career, Richard has served as a member, director, founder, or president of countless public and private boards, including Hawaii Farmers and Ranchers United, the Hawaiian Island Energy Cooperative, Pueo, perpetrating the unique education opportunities, Sustainable Energy Hawaii, and Hui Oihana. He has been honored as the 2006 Farmer of the Year for the state of Hawaii, a Hall of Honor inductee at the UH Manoa Shidler College of Business, and as the 2015 Kalehano Heritage Awardee from UH Manoa College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources. Recently, Richard authored a book titled What Would Our Kupuna Do? And What We Can Do for Future Generations, which discusses things that we can focus on right now to protect the future of our ohana and our island home. He says, we too are somebody's ancestors. We need to make wise decisions now to take care of future generations and meet our people's long-term goals. So, take it away.
Aloha. I am the great-great-grandson of Kamahili Nui. He lived in Lower Puna and had 12 male children and 1 female child. My great-grandma Tutuledi was the wife of Frank Kamahili. My dream is to bring forward the values that I saw in Tutuledi Miliana Kamahili and later in her son, Ulrich Ankosani Kamahili, for the benefit of future generations of young people. The first time I met Tutuledi was when Mom and Dad and us 6 kids showed up unannounced at Makuʻu one day around 68 years ago. Tutuledi grabbed us kids and kept us next to her all day. Several times during the day she went, ooh, like that. And then sometimes she'd talk to herself, and we didn't speak Hawaiian and she didn't speak English, but we could feel her unconditional love. Uncle Sonny Kamahili, her son, joined the Merchant Marines and saw the world. They then came back to the subsistence life he left at Makuʻu. He believed in science because he followed the advice of the cooperative extension agent from the College of Tropical Ag, UH Manoa. And he had a stack of US News and World Report next to his kerosene lantern. I learned from him that if the farmer makes money, the farmer will farm. And that the pluses must exceed the minuses or it's not sustainable. Common sense stuff, yeah. Unless you gotta do a contingency plan, then you gotta pay. The influence of these 2 people instilled in me a dream to help future generations make the world a better place for future generations. But first, I had to take care of myself. So we started out as a small farmer, worked with the resources available while using the knowledge I received from Makuʻu. The opportunity came to produce bananas, and we leased 60 acres down at Kauai, close to Four Corners in Kapoho. Built a packing house, got a van to deliver the bananas to the wharf. Then we bought a $150 forklift that had a piece missing from its hard rubber tire. The guys called it Fritz Flintstone because every time it made a revolution, it would clunk, clunk, clunk. But we didn't care because it helped us do our work. From there, we went to Kea'au, where we expanded to 300 acres. then to Pepeha. We knew the bananas needed 2.5 million gallons of water per acre per day, and that much water fell out of the sky in Pepeha. And it was going to do that forever, and it was free. Eventually, we expanded to 600 acres there at Pepeha and produced 6 million pounds of bananas annually, 1 million pounds of tomatoes annually, and owned 430 acres of fee simple land. And now that I'm retired, I'm able to focus on my real dream to help future generations. I'm doing this by envisioning the Kyoki and Malia initiative. The Kyoki and Malia initiative asks, what can we do now to make life better for generations to come? We have two projects. The first is the modern day Ahupua'a. We designated 170 acres to utilize the electricity from our hydroelectric generator and the water from 2 springs in a way to leverage modern technologies for food production. Brittany Zimmerman, a NASA aerospace engineer, is helping us utilize technologies used in the Mars habitat. She and I attended an event at Four Corners, Kapoho, several weeks ago, where a new ahu was being constructed. It was close to Kauai, where my journey started. I brought rocks from the modern day Ahupua'a. Brittany brought concrete rocks from her process of converting industrial waste to concrete, biochar, potable water, and hydrogen, green hydrogen. The second project is the establishment of a Mauna Honua Culture Science Center above the clouds. The objective is to show all the young people on Hawaii Island how culture and science can coexist. Hawaiians had no metals, so they had no money. What resulted was a system of reciprocity. I give you now, you give me later. The more you give, the more you receive. By treating all living things as divine brethren, they were able to balance the resources with their needs. Treating all living things as equals in a balanced ecosystem. This reciprocity is the basis of aloha. Halepohaku is above the clouds, where you can look into the universe and see billions of stars. That resource will be there forever. On Mauna Kea, there are all the climate zones to study and balance food production, water usage, environment, the ocean, how everything affects every other thing. The Mauna Honua Culture and Science Center is a place where culture and science can coexist. My family roots are in Makuʻu. The values of unconditional aloha and resource usefulness are deeply embedded in my Naʻau. I have always dreamed of being able to help future generations thrive. I've worked my entire life to get to the point where I'm able to focus on that dream. If the Kyoki and Malia initiative can become a reality, that would truly be a dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that inspiring story. So, our next story is titled, We Will Always Have Paris.
Meshell Barron has a background in early childhood education and enjoys teaching the young in San Diego for 10 years. She shifted her career after relocating to Pahoa, Hawaii, and in 2016 started her own business with her husband, opening doors to M&M Custom Designs. Meshell likes to take her designs on the road, allowing her to participate in many community events, markets, and fundraisers, keeping a close connection to the local community as well as abroad. Since moving to Hawaii Island, Meshell has participated in many freelance writing assignments and is currently working on a novel. Writing and journaling has become a huge part of her life since moving here. You can check out her designs and art on social media at M&M Custom Designs. Let's hear a story.
Bonjour. No, I don't speak French. Although I did take French in high school, after they gave us the option between Spanish and French. And even though Spanish is a huge part of my Mexican heritage, I I never did learn Spanish, so of course I chose French. I'd never been to Paris. I only know what I've read and seen in photos and movies. It started young, this obsession, this rêve, this dream, that I belong in Paris, that in another life, it's where I grew up. This draw, this pull I feel to the music and the food and the French style fashion. The language is so romantic that even cussing in French is hot. Well, as I grew older, my dream to see Paris grew too. The history, the architecture, especially the Eiffel Tower. I would sit for hours at a time in my room, visioning myself at the top of the Eiffel Tower, looking down at the city below. My dream continued on into my adult life, and once I was out on my own, the first stop was Paris. I had it all planned. Know someone in Paris, check. With a place, check. Find some work, check. Learn the language, kinda check. Oh well, it'll all work out, right? Well, then life happens, and I found myself moving to Hawaii to be near my family. But that didn't stop my dream. Every day on the commute to work, I would listen to Rosetta Stone, determined to become fluent in French and Italian, and maybe one day Spanish. But then life happens again. I got married and had 2 beautiful daughters. Great reason to put my dream on hold, right? But this time put on hold for about 10 years. And then one afternoon, a couple months ago, I was chatting with my friend, and she mentioned to me that she was headed to Paris on vacation with her daughter. And all I could think is how amazing for her 15-year-old daughter to be headed to one of the coolest places on earth. So I told my friend about my dream, that she was gonna visit a place that I've dreamt of seeing my entire life. So I asked her. No, I told her. Okay, let's be real. I demanded that she please bring me something back from Paris. And then she proceeded to ask, well, like what? Oh, I never thought about it. A beret? No. Some French wine? No. Some beignets? No. I couldn't think of one thing. So I told her, you decide. When you see it, you'll just know. I mean, she knew me pretty well, my likes, my style. Well, once she was in Paris, I followed her every move on Instagram, drooling over the food she ate and just loving the views she was looking off of. And when she returned, she called me up and said she found the perfect item for me. We met up and she handed me this very cute, chic package with a card on it that said, merci. Well, I decided right then and there that I didn't care what was inside, as long as it came from Paris. I opened the package, which smelled like strawberries and cream. Well, at least to me it did. And inside was this pink rose gold champagne colored kimono, handmade in a small boutique in downtown Paris. It is the most beautiful, silky, sexy piece of clothing I have ever owned. It is simply magnifique. Well, after that day, I decided to give my dream an end date, that on my next decade-changing birthday, because I'm not going to say how old I am, I'm going to Paris. It's all that I'll plan for and save for. And I'm bringing my family so they can experience my dream with me, a dream that they've heard about all this time, and so they can experience the idea that dreams do come true. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Our next story is called Land of the Long White Cloud, Pepeha and Slippers.
I have to preface this with I'm sorry if I butcher any of this pronunciation, but Laura Elo Caswell-Morgan is a former Hilo student who divides her time between Hawaii and Aotearoa. She works on Hawaii Island for Catholic Charities, Hawaii Hilo, and Na'ohana Pulama. In Aotearoa, she works for Oranga Tamariki, the Ministry for Children. She always has a home on her whānau marais, kahotea, and turanga vaivai. Though she dwells here in Upper Puna, she is a grandmother, a mother, a daughter, sister, family, friend, and worker for the people. She is a partner. When she comes out to play, it is in the outdoors, the theater, and through traveling where she feels most sublime. In the traditional Maori introduction of her whānau, she honors the mountains and the waters that she comes from. We will hear that now.
Ko Porcupine, ko Mauna Loa, ko Hakirimata na Mauna, ko Michigan, ko Superior, ko Huron, ko Puna na Awa, ko Manistee, ko Wainaku, ko Waikato, ko Waipa na Roto, ko Kahotea, ko Turanga Waiwai na Marae, no Upper Puna Aho, ko Laula Eleo Caswell-Morgan, Toku Ingoa, Tena Kotu Katoa. This is my Pepeha, a natural way I practice introducing myself. It tells you who I am and how I came to be where I am. I don't get to recite my Pepeha very much in the USA, never on the mainland, and only a few times or places feel appropriate in Hawaii. It's in Aotearoa where it most comes in handy, and I'm not the only Pakeha haole who has a Pepeha there. If you work, go to school, or have whānau with Māori, everyone has a Pepeha. You just have to figure out what yours is and recite it anytime you're introduced. When I first heard the template of the Pepeha, a familiar memory exposed itself to me again, as it has throughout the years numerous times. To me, reciting my Pepeha feels as if I'm in a dream, and an actual dream come true, a dream within a dream. The extra bonus, every time it's recited, I remember a dream I had almost 40 years ago. The dream was born from extreme stress and pain when I was still quite young, a new mother with a 2-year-old baby and an exploding appendix. In 1986, during 2 surgeries, 5 weeks in hospital, and 3 months of healing a hole in my belly from the inside out, I had a recurring dream. Sparked by managing the pain, a dream to manage the potential deathbed struggle, a life-changing agony, a dream to save my life. When Justena asked me to write a story with the topic of dreams, one dream, this dream, flashed in my mind, as it has 1,000 times. Not the whole dream, just an image my mind has signified for itself as a reminder for me of this particular dream. Slippers. Rows and rows, all sizes and hues of slippers. For almost 40 years, surely once a week, I've envisioned this dream. Bits and parts of it will hit my mind's eye. I might see a beautiful sunset, a field of flowers, a series of rolling hills, and then flashes an image of my slippers dream in my mind. I'll see literal slippers, a photographic visual, a colorful burst of them, as I dreamt them throughout the world, lined up next to doorways, on steps, along pathways, so many slippers. I knew those slippers held people I was supposed to meet, places and faces I was supposed to be introduced to, and in the stress and pain my body was in, I clung to those dreams, fading in and out of them through many days. I believed my wairua, my spirit, was keeping me grounded, showing me a path through nature, a way to save my life. In those dream moments, my body hung on, allowing the distraction flying around the world. The dream allowed me, healing me slowly but vividly, a dream tonic back to life. And I did heal, I survived, my body lived through it. I became emotionally much stronger than I ever was, just by the suffering of it. And I knew the recurring slippers dreams helped keep me here. As time went by, those slippers made more sense. And eventually I came to realize my dream was strangely coming true, more and more. Slippers have been everywhere, something a young girl from Michigan never knew. Michigan had boots and skis and sneakers and a few sandals, but no slippers. I had to leave the rivers, lakes, and streams of my birth to find those slippers. It would take decades and many images of my dream becoming reality until I realized how powerful dreams can be, how long-winded, and stretched through time, they can actually travel until we truly understand their merit or life-saving properties. When the natural world of my waking days, along with actual slippers, started showing up in the US South, in Hawaii, in Aotearoa, and other places along the way, I couldn't deny the dream. And when I first saw the format the Pepeha takes, I gasped, as I still sometimes do, with the synchronicity of it all. Reciting my Pepeha, I have flashes of feeling myself once again flying, as in my life-saving dream. I have flashes of taking off and flying out and over cities again and again, across grasslands to Gulf of Mexico villages, the mountains I love. Everywhere I fly, I see slippers, rows and rows of slippers. Flying over the Porcupine Mountains, stars reflect in the mirror of the Lake of the Clouds at midnight. On the grass nearby, I see slippers. I see the manistee under the moon, then the Wainaku tripping through rainbow rain in palm tree silhouette. Next to the rocks there, I see slippers with brown and white children dancing in the cool waters. Over Lake Michigan, a most beautiful freshwater lake with its cold blue water spraying up at me. As I glide close, I see slippers hugging the shore. Now over canyons and deserts and an ocean I fly, until reaching Mauna Loa, swirling around the volcano to a beautiful jungle hale with slippers on the steps, not stopping, across the ocean again, low on the water, reaching the land of the long white cloud, Aotearoa, up and over the Hakirimata ranges. I see morning fog on the Waipa and the Waikato, a long-haired man, and 2 pair of slippers on the distant shores home. In the recitation of my Pepeha and retelling of my dream, I feel it is one of my grandmother's stories, a story for my mokopuna, my mo'os. I want them to know as I get older, I am happy to consider I know less and less as time goes by. Dreams seem to have intimate, moving parts. For example, sometimes we don't know a dream is coming true until it unfolds around us. I want my mokos to be ready for the unfolding of their dreams. And I want them to know I believe we all have a Pepeha to share. First impressions molded into a strong story about our name. Old and new dreams, the people and places who shape us. The first time I came back from Aotearoa, my kaumatoa, a kapuna there, told me my Pepeha went with me. Wear it well, and don't be afraid to take the time it takes to say it or to listen to others' Pepehas. His words keep on giving. All of this, all of my Pepeha contains a lifetime of me and my dreams, and rows upon rows of slippers, a summation of my entire being. Tēnā, tēnā, tēnā koutou katoa. Salutations to you all.
Thank you so much for that insightful story. And our last story is believing in the power of dreams.
Yume Iwashita is an international student for this fall 2023 semester, majoring in communication. Since she was a high school student, she has engaged in many events about education in Japan and became a storyteller to share her ideas for inclusive education. From this experience, she became interested in the differences between educational systems in Japan and in other countries. She heard that Hilo is a top university on the perspective of diversity, so she chose to study abroad here. She has a big goal to establish her own school in Japan where no one is left behind. She is very excited to participate in this event because here she can share her heartfelt ideas with many people. So let's hear her story.
Aloha. Thank you so much for the wonderful opportunities. To me, dreams provide the guidance of my life, like the North Star. They led me to unexpected worlds, just like ancient people used them to know where to go for their journey. Since I am individual with disabilities, I have faced many limitations in my daily life in Japan. It's not an easy path to go through. I needed dreams because otherwise it was tough for me to keep my life enjoyable. I dreamed of studying abroad. When I visited Finland to see educational institutions in 2019, I decided to study abroad to see the institutions. As much I could. I made a plan to study in the US for 2 weeks. However, that plan was cancelled due to the pandemic. Fortunately, I had a chance to study at the Hilo this January. I was really happy and excited to be here. However, a big problem with my caregiver occurred. I had to go back to Japan earlier. I always believed in power of dreams. Because of that, I always looked forward, even though I had a tough time. But at this time, I did not feel optimistic. To make matters worse, for the first time, I started to doubt power of dreams. I couldn't see the North Star anymore. My world became dark. From that day, I asked myself questions to find a new way. To do that, I had to look back to my past and how I struggled as an individual with disabilities. And that was why I decided to study abroad to see institutions and educational systems treat individuals with disabilities. Before then, I could look only forward to follow my dream. So I sometimes felt lonely through my past. But thanks to the moment I stopped and I looked back to the past, I realized my pathway cannot exist without the support from the people around me. Thanks to the realization, my power to pursue dreams became even stronger. I was able to see the North Star again. Now, my goal was clear: to create a school in Japan where no one would be left behind. I was fortunately able to return to Hilo again. However, my perspective is totally different from before. Now, I am always thankful for the support from many people. And then I express that feeling because they are helping me to achieve my own goal. My name, Yume, means dream in Japanese. Like my name, I want to be a person who gives people courage by telling my own dream. Thank you so much.
How about another round of applause for our great dreamers? It is so inspiring. So I don't want to take away from all that greatness that we had just heard. So I'll just do a little recap. Some of the things that we learned from them, because these are some great lessons. Some of their dreams of career and education that sets you on the right path, but allows for that path to be altered and enhanced beyond what you could ever imagine. Dreams to serve and to create opportunities for others. Dreaming of far-off places yet to be explored. Kind of like the Pele and Lohiʻau story. And it did happen, it comes to pass. Recurring dreams, and a dream that evolves and becomes clearer, making more and more sense as your life moves on. Comforting in a way. And dreams as goals, as inspiration, to continue on, even when the dream, even when the North Star starts to fade. It's rekindled. So, to honor our speakers and their words, I'll just end today with a few quotes that meant a lot, and I hope it meant the same to you. Follow our heart and it will lead us to amazing experiences. Synergize between your dreams and your Naʻau. Help future generations make the world a better place for future generations. I love how that's continual and cyclical. The more you give, the more you receive. So true. Well, life happens, but that doesn't stop your dream. I'm bringing my family so they can experience my dream with me. A dream to save my life. I know those slippers held people I was supposed to meet. I'm never going to another party again and look at slippers the same. I always look forward, even though I had a hard time. And last, but maybe most profound, dreams provide the guidance of our lives. Mahalo to you all.
Thank you so much for our topic expert, Kaimana Varkarsi, and to all of our storytellers, Meshell, Ashley, Mazzetti, Richard Ha, Meshell Bears. I'm so sorry. Laura Caswell-Morgan and Yume Iwashita.
Truly inspiring and wonderful stories, and then wonderful insight from our topic expert to bring it all together. And now it's time to say a hui ho until we meet again. We'd like to give a special shout out to the Mo'okini Library, the Performing Arts Department, the Chancellor's Office, and the English Club for their support in making this program possible.
Well, do you have a great story to share? Well, tell the world at Wailau.
Our next Wailau theme will be, why not?
So you can tell a story about a time where when you were asked why, the only answer that you could say was, why not?
Or a different story about perseverance or anything that you feel is connected to you and the theme. So thank you all so much for coming, and thank you again to our wonderful storytellers, and we hope to see you again.